Morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? It's Amanda here, and I'm going to do an updated video on the Idaho 4 case. The reason why I'm doing this today, it's the 1st of July, is that there has been breaking news overnight that Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea bargain. He is going to plead guilty of the 4 murders of the college students. So 4 consecutive life sentences with no right to appeal. More than anything, why I'm coming on today to talk about this again is that the video that I did 2 years ago was called A Cry from the Angels, and I felt the spirit of several of these young kids. In particular, I felt as though I had a good connection with Xana, and justice needs to be done. Now, why people are up in arms about this latest development is that Bryan won't have his proper day in court with regards to all of the evidence and the defence putting their case before a jury. I said 2 years ago, and I'm not alone in saying this, many have said it, that this case was riddled with holes from day one. A lot about it did not make sense. Gigantic smokescreen, gigantic cover-up. 2 years ago, I was referencing the police and the church in particular. And then, of course, they demolished the house where the murders took place before it even came to trial. I'm sure to remove evidence. And now this. So, as a mother myself, I feel as though these 4 deserve better than what Steve Concalves has said this morning is just trying to railroad this case, get it off the books as quickly as possible, close it so that no questions are answered. And that actually the ones in shadier places hiding out are not exposed. I'm going to read to you what I said 2 years ago, just in a nutshell, and just also to remind myself what came through. But I do believe that we're in times of mass awakening, and it's almost as though any play that the darkness has or does, any move that it makes, will backfire. And I think many people will see through this smokescreen and cover-up. Now, I'm a little bit confused as I'm recording this today at midday on Tuesday the 1st, whether the judge could still throw out the plea bargain. But it feels as though it's pretty much a done deal. And indeed, maybe there's something to be said as well for the fact that would they be able to find a jury that didn't know all of the facts, because it's all, well, facts as presented to us, evidence that's been presented to us so far, because so much has been reported already in the mass media. Anyhow, let's just go back a step and remind ourselves what we were talking about in 2022. That's 3 years ago, actually. I mean, that's how long this has taken to come to court. I recorded this on the 28th of November 2022. We're now at June 2025, and there has been nothing but trying to stall this case. And now this. It's as though all of the areas of confusion, confliction, things not adding up are just meeting a brick wall, and we will not be given the right to hear the things that are not right. Okay, so this is what I said. I said, your help is required. This is a special video to bring light into the darkness, shining the spotlight on not just this case, but a wider range of issues affecting us all, so that justice and healing can arrive. We are becoming immune to senseless violence. A case, however, like the brutal Idaho Moscow College murders of 4 innocent youngsters, brings us to our senses and awakens a desire to stand up for what is godly against a dark subculture and underbelly that exists around our world. Number one, why are we looking at it? We are going to illuminate the rainbow bridge for them, help to transmute the shock and horror, try to help expose the corruption infiltrating many institutions, but focusing on church and law enforcement. I then said that if I had had time, I didn't actually go back and look at this, also to look into college, sorority and fraternity energy too, which to me was something I wasn't really aware of as a thing, how big it is in the USA. But that is also an aspect to this as well. Has there been cover up within the fraternity and sorority colleges? We then looked at the high angelic and elemental energy of the four: Madison Mogan, Kaylee Concalvis, Ethan Chapin and Xana Canoodle. I looked at the significance of King Road and Queen Road where they died. It was like an intersection energy. I talked about the experience that I had the night before I recorded this video in 2022, where I absolutely received psychic attack and something trying to stop me from speaking out, and more. You can read it. I'll link it below, what we said in 2022. But yeah, I want to come on today to see what the hell is going on and whether there is any chink in the armour whereby we can get a proper day in court for these four. All right. Now, I'm going to pull some cards, but one that just sort of came out whilst I was preparing this video is one from the Missing Variables deck. It's one of Ashley's deck at the Reckoning Co. And this is why I knew I had to speak. And this card says, it's the 10 of Spades. It says, the final hour. The truth emerges, but at what cost? A case reaches its climatic resolution. A dramatic verdict in the courtroom. Justice served or a miscarriage of justice. The truth finally laid bare for all to see. Widespread consequences of the case ripples outward, closure but at a cost, and a legacy shaped by truth, lies and justice. Now, I didn't know whether to mention something in this video, but I am just going to go for it. Because those of you that follow my work, I call myself the spiritual detective. You know, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but there's a truth to it. And when I read on things, when things happen on the same day that I'm reading on a subject, especially one that I haven't read on for 3 years, I know it's linked. In the UK, there's just been breaking news that a very high profile case here of a lady called Lucy Letby, there's been some shocking developments in that case. Now, in a nutshell, the Lucy Letby case, she was a nurse, a young woman, who was convicted of the deaths of a number of babies, newborn babies, in a hospital. And since she was convicted, and she's in for life, there have been a number of attempts to try to prove her innocence. I've not said anything on this case, and the reason why I've not said anything on this case is that when I tapped into its energy, it was so bloody dark and demonic and awful that I didn't want to go there. I didn't also know what I could actually say publicly. I also knew that I wanted to not protect the parents of these babies, but I was trying to put myself in the position of the parent and thinking, would I want that type of information out there? And equally, what if I'm wrong? But I am going to go there. So when I pulled cards for myself off camera on Lucy, because I started to have a question in terms of, well, what if she is innocent? What if she's not guilty? The cards were the most definitive I think I've ever seen in my life. I used 2 decks of devil energy, evil energy at the heart of this case. I do not think she is innocent. However, having said that, the reason I'm talking about it today is I think there are similarities with Bryan in that there is a web of darkness surrounding her and also surrounding him. So they may very well be responsible partly or wholly, but there were other people that benefited from these deaths. In the Lucy Letby case, all I will say is that there is a market for organs in our world, and it isn't something that people want to look at or acknowledge even happens, but it is the truth. And it doesn't just happen in places such as Africa. It happens everywhere. And that might be a subject for another day, but it's linked to this case. The people that have been arrested this morning, who I believe are managers of the hospital linked to Lucy, I'm not saying that they are directly responsible for what I've just said, because they are being arrested on suspicion of gross negligence. All I am trying to say to you, and as far as I want to go in this video, is that we're not being given the whole story. We are being fed a narrative that suits someone or something or a circle of power that is so dark and horrific that all we can do is hold the light to it. At that moment, my screen just blacked out. Because, yeah, there is blackout. You know, they don't want us to talk about this. If you're a true light worker and you've got the strength and the ability, because not everybody has, to go into these places, just hold the light, okay? Right, I'm not going to say any more on Lucy today. I might do if it becomes relevant in this reading. I want mainly for this to be about Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho 4 case. So back to this one, the final hour. I will just say, sorry, there was one other card that popped out, and it was when I was thinking about Lucy, and I will just say this. This says buried motives, but I think there's a bit of a similarity with this case, actually. It says buried motives, hidden intentions, waiting to be unearthed. A moment of truth under harsh scrutiny, tactics used to break down the walls of silence, uncovering key information in a critical moment, a battle of wills between investigator and suspect, lies unravel under the weight of questioning, a suspect under pressure starts to crack, justice begins to emerge from the shadows. I would also at this point link in the energy of Madeleine McCann. Again, completely different case to Bryan Kohberger, Lucy Letby, and what's happened there. But with Madeleine McCann, we know that one of the suspects will eventually crack. That's what I've always felt would happen. When that happens, I don't know, but that will be when the case is solved, or when the protection around them starts to crumble for whatever reason. But again, just another example of a web of darkness, cover up, smoke screen, etc. Those with eyes to see know that what we are fed is often not the original and right narrative. It's distorted. Okay, let's pull some cards then with regards to Bryan Kohberger, and I'm just going to spray some spiritual protection around myself, around this reading, around you that are watching. Although it's interesting coming back to do this video 3 years on, I remember being, if not, I wasn't scared, I'm not, because I believe that light always wins, but I'd been rocked by that psychic attack, you know, on the night before reading. So I was a bit daunted, but I don't feel that at all today. And that's good because it shows that light is starting to win. More people are speaking up and questioning things. Right, okay, let's just see. Now there's a deck here, which I hadn't realised why I was being called to use it. And look at that card. Do you know, I nearly threw this deck out recently. Not because it's bad, just because I was never ever using it. It's the Sacred Rebel deck by Alana Fairchild. And I've never seen that card before. I've never seen that card before in the deck. It's card number 23. It was on the bottom of the deck. I didn't realise. It says, defend to the end the worthwhile. The owl, and it has a divine feminine here, and she's crying tears, and the tears are dark, you know. You know, there's a thing about when we cry, we release stress. It rebalances the body. But this is the divine feminine crying tears of pain. Today is also the anniversary of Princess Diana's birth. And I put up a video a week ago channeling Princess Diana. And in that video, one of the things that we did together was a powerful message came through about the divine feminine, the oppression of the divine feminine. And it was described as, I just tuned into this energy, which was so dark and horrific and painful and heavy. And it just felt like this gigantic teardrop. Those of you that have seen the video know what I'm talking about, a gigantic teardrop. And I said that the tear would become so plump that eventually it would fall. And when the tear falls, and the tear represents all of the pain, all of the injustice, all of what's trying to be shunted away and not looked at, when the tear falls, it will change the world. It will be a watershed moment. And I'm just reminded of that by this card here. Defend to the end the worthwhile. Because going back to what I said 2 years ago, there was something about the road, King's Road and Queen's Road, the intersection. The house lay on the intersection of King's Road and Queen's Road. And I talked about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And it was about sovereignty. Ethan, bless him, who was there as a defender of these women that were killed, was also killed himself. But it, because of the 3 girls that died, in such a ritualistic way, in such a brutal way, it felt as though it was very much directed at them. Ethan, bless him, was a casualty of the violence done to them. It was an assault on the feminine. And if we are to believe that Bryan is the guilty one, as he says he is, and he's not just accepting this plea bargain for whatever reason, I don't know why that would be. We'll get into it in a moment with the cards. But it was an assault on the feminine, a hatred of women at some degree. So look at that card. Let's just put that there. Defend to the end, the worthwhile. We've also got be the hunter, not the hunted. Another owl energy. I'll take this 3rd card as well. Beyond the mind, the heart beats, which I feel is a reference to the 4 that died, to say that they still live on. The card shows a galaxy far away or a realm far away. Beyond the mind, the heart beats. There's also a DNA strand here as well, linking into maybe brothers, sisters, siblings that carry their bloodline still. So they live on through their family and their siblings in particular. So that's a nod to the everlastingness of life, and that however brutal it is when a life is ended in such an awful way, that life is eternal and they are still alive but in a different realm. But here we've got this owl energy, okay, that they were hunted, or one of them was hunted, but they were hunted. And, okay, so I'm just getting a message coming in from Spirit here. So Bryan Kohberger, as somebody who hunted down his prey, got quite a sort of bird-like beakish face actually. He's got an eyes that are, his whole eyes and nose area reminds me of like a hawk, but that's sort of not mean to be offensive to hawks because they're beautiful birds. And of course Bryan did once have a heart that had held love in it as well. We must always remember that. But what he did was unspeakable, unforgivable, really. I mean, God will forgive him, but, very hard for a human, certainly a parent to forgive that. But he hunted, and I'm feeling now he is the hunted one. It's like the tables have turned, is what I'm hearing. He is being hunted down. Whether this is a reference to prison, when he actually goes to prison, he might accept a plea bargain, but, I wouldn't want to be him in a prison. He will be hunted down by other inmates in there. If fate is not going to be kind to him within that institution, how far he makes it into his sentence is anybody's guess. But there's always going to be eyes on him, okay, wherever he goes. So, but he's chosen to take this plea bargain. So let's have a look at what is going on. and I'm not really quite sure where to start. Let's start with this deck, which is the Starman Tarot. And I'd like to pull a card right now. Just show me the energy of Bryan Kohberger, or what is there to say today, please, Spirit? The energy of Bryan Kohberger. I'm feeling an energy of defeat, in that he wanted to present himself as some great mastermind. He was doing a criminology PhD or something from memory. So has an intellectual mind, but feels defeated. Okay, I'm just going to park that because this card sort of contradicts what I've just given, but I'm not going to go back on what I've been given by Spirit. So yeah, okay. This card here, the Nine of Cups, is the wish card. At a surface level, it looks like he's got his wish, which is he doesn't want to die, which is the energy of a coward, to be honest. You take 4 lives, but you can't face the consequences of that. There's cowardice at play. So it feels like he's got his wish. This energy feels, it's an energy of a female, but she's got, I don't know, it's a bit smirky. There's a bit of a smirky energy with this card. Cheers, I've got my way, but I'm not feeling that really underneath it all, that is how he feels, because look what's on the bottom of the deck, the Princess of Pentacles. And to me, that represents the girls in spirit. I don't know whether my camera is really showing it that well. Let me put it up to the camera a little bit more. You can see that now. This feels like the ghost. This feels like a ghost energy of at least one of the girls. Now, I'm picking up it may very well be Kaylee in particular, or it could be Maddie, but it's the hair. There's blonde hair. There's long blonde hair here. It could be both of them, but this feels like the energy is a princess. So they didn't become a queen because they didn't live enough of their life. But they were on the path of queendom, as it were, as all women are, but they were cut off in their prime as the princess. And almost feels this card's, it's got like a sort of baton, which feels like it goes through them, like a knife, effectively. But this is like thunderbolt energy. You think you've got your wish, Bryan. You think you've got your wish, but you are going to be haunted by this and what you've done till the end of your days, basically. Is what's coming through there. There's no rest for the wicked, is what I'm hearing. There's no rest for the wicked. And we've also got the energy of the Chariot there and the Nine of Swords, which is sort of, let me just carry on. Okay, when the cards keep telling a story, you just keep taking them. Look at that. Okay, right. If you can see that all of the cards, we've got the 3 princesses out. Let me just put them all up here. We've got Princess of Wands, Princess of Pentacles, Princess of Cups, Maddie, Xana, and Kaylee. We've got movement. Come hell or high water, I'm hearing. Come hell or high water, this guy gets justice. Now, what justice actually means is maybe not what you interpret it to be, maybe not what I interpret it to be before I switch the camera on, which is that we want our day in court. We want to hear the discrepancies. We want the people that are hiding in the shadows to be brought to account. But I think this is really saying that it will be, because they're going to be pursuing this, all these feminine energy, because it's like an attack on the divine feminine. That's what, I mean, with also Ethan, never wanting to forget Ethan as well. Really loved his energy, beautiful guy. But anyway, we've got the Nine of Swords, we've got the 10 of Wands. Look at that. And the World. You think this is over? The World is a card of completion. You think this is over? You think that you have destroyed us, killed us? We will not let you rest. It's almost an energy of they can't properly rest until justice is truly served. Nine of Swords is the card of, this is for Bryan. This is like, stress, headaches, sleepless nights, Torment is the word I'm hearing. Torment. A life of torment is what awaits him. So he thinks he's got his wish because he's got off with not getting the death penalty. But no, a life of torment, 9 of Swords and the 10 of Wands together. I mean, can you see that card? Yeah, this is somebody who has got the weight of everything on his back, basically. It's a struggle to carry on. And, you know, I said, and I trust what I get from Spirit, I was feeling an energy of defeat. Look at that card. 10 of Wands, completely and utterly defeated. Game over, completion of the cycle. So don't trust the smirk, you know, if he dares to give one in the courtroom. There is a lot of torment going on beneath the surface with this guy. So let's just pull a couple of cards with regards to the case. I'm not going to go over the case too much, but let's just like to see what wants to come through today with these cards. So we've got the Wild card has come out. So the Wild card is what you don't see coming. Maybe what he doesn't see coming. I haven't actually read what it says here yet, but what the Wild card is the Wild card. I'm hearing anything could happen. Now, I'm not fully up on the law, so I'm assuming that the judge can't throw this plea bargain out, but maybe the Wild card is saying he could. I don't know. Or I don't know, but let's just see what it says here. The 7 of Diamonds. It says the risk of high stakes. Interesting, I said states. The risk of high states leads me to think of, that's not me just mispronouncing, states, as in American states. Certain states, Idaho, others, being up to their neck in corruption. I'm hearing very old-fashioned words, actually. I'm hearing fornication, like old-fashioned biblical words. Now, from memory, I'm pretty sure that Idaho's got its fair share of, shall we say, alternative Christianity. Isn't there a high Mormon thing? Wasn't Laurie Vallow linked into all of that as well? There's something about twisted ideology or narrow ideology, fundamentalism. And often what you, this is true generally of life, what you rally against, say you've got somebody up on a soapbox and they're banging on and on about you can't do this, you can't do that. It's actually because they are doing it or they want to do it, okay? It's the heights of hypocrisy. So in the UK, we have something called Speaker's Corner, and anybody can get up in Hyde Park on their soapbox, literally, and just go off on one about anything. Watch the people who particularly have judgments with regards to maybe a particular sector or a particular thing. They often have like a latent hidden energy, which is actually, it's what they want to do. It's what they want to do. It's a sickness. And I've channeled somebody called William T. Stead a few times. Those of you that follow me know. He was an investigative journalist. He died on Titanic. He was a humanitarian, a philanthropist. And there's a book called The Blue Island that was channeled information about the afterlife. And one of the things that William talks about in it is the fact that, and maybe I said this in the previous Idaho video, let me get this right, I want to say it properly. Something about somebody who looks like the pillar of society. Oh, you know, they are the beacon of their church, or they are the shining example of good politics, or whatever it is, or just they are the best neighbour in the world. When they die, they might have such a hidden sickness within them. All of their horrible, toxic thoughts meet them when they get to the other side, because basically you meet what your mind is. Your mind creates your reality here on earth, but equally the mental state, the mental plane also meets you on the other side. So sometimes the most sickest, twisted individuals, if they've actually cleaned their act up and their mind up and truly reformed and become better people, and that can happen, I'm not saying it's happened with Bryan, but it can happen, then they don't have to meet that earlier version of themselves in the afterlife because they've already done the work here on earth. But the people that particularly don't do the work but appear to be something that they are not, there is a special place for them in the afterlife. I don't believe in hell and damnation, actually, but it just means that you truly have to look at yourself and your judgments. So why did I get into all of that? Oh, it was to do with the states, wasn't it? Certain organisations within the state. And I still link into the church. I still link into police, law enforcement. There was a particular, in my video from 2 years ago, I talked about Doug Wilson's Christchurch in Idaho, exposing the misogyny, abuse and worse that was there, which was creating a breeding ground for hate and division rather than love. And I stand by what I brought through there. I'm not saying that he is directly responsible, but it's like anything. If you've got a cesspit of misogyny or hatred towards a particular group, or just horrible thinking or perversion, sexual perversion, it ripples out into the collective. Okay, so anyway, back to this card. It says, power players caught off guard, the cost of ambition revealed. So a high stakes game. So, I don't know. Somebody is playing a high risk game by allowing this plea bargain, because is it going to be so tight that information doesn't leak after Bryan is, jailed for life? I don't know. Let's just see if there's anything else that wants to come out. Got the Joker on the bottom of the pack. Maybe I'm meant to take that. It just confirms what I just said to you. It says, in the silence of secrets, truth finds its voice. Justice through delayed is inevitable. Something along the lines of, however much they try and cover this up, smokescreen is complete. I think it's just linked into the times we're in with Awakening. The Joker and the wild card rises to the surface, particularly when you've got such strong soul energy as the 4 that died, but it's particularly the women that are coming forward today, the females, Madison, Xana and Kaylee coming through. It's like you've got double bubble going on. You've got people here on earth, like the parents, pushing for justice. We're not having this plea bargain. We want to hear the evidence. We want people called to speak who have so far been silent, etc. Somehow the truth emerges. I don't know what time frame we're talking, but that's what I'm getting here. Let's pull a couple of cards from here. I've got this spray here. This is Archangel Uriel, Loving Service and Light. The reason I'm looking at the Archangel Uriel energy with this case is that Archangel Uriel is about justice. Anybody that's got any type of case going on or wants justice should be calling in Archangel Uriel. Look at that paper trail on the bottom of the deck. Let's just bring in the energy of Uriel here, this reading. I've also brought in the energy of the moon spray, because remember, the moon is about what is hidden. So it feels if we add in the energy of the moon, for the moon to illuminate her and reveal her secrets, Archangel Uriel to help bring in justice. And I've also got a dragon here, dragon strength as well. Also tuning into the energy of amethyst. Amethyst is linked into the crown chakra, bringing, and it's also linked into the violet ray, which is to do with transmutation. So whenever you do link into this case, it's very important to also just clear your energy field before and afterwards. But there's something here about the energy of the crown chakra, bringing in truth to those who are in positions of power to make a difference here. Okay, we've got paper trail. Let's just take that one. What goes with paper trail, please? Bryan Kohberger. Aliens, I don't believe means aliens in terms of little green men. No disrespect to our galactic friends. I'm going to read that in a different way in a moment. Let me just put these together. Paper trail and school and secret. There's something to do with... I've got weapon as well. Something to do with... I feel there was evidence linking to what he probably was going to do or wanted to do. Maybe with regards to his PhD. Maybe he's actually written down or theorised the perfect murder. In fact, I think that's true, isn't it? Didn't he talk in some sort of thesis about the perfect murder? Or this, I feel there's actually written down evidence, whether it's on a hard drive or whether it's in a file, linked into his studies for PhD in criminology, that leads to this case. But we've got secret, we've got alien, and we've got weapon. The weapon, the weapon is just the weapon. That's what was used. I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody specifically, but I feel as though there is somebody linked into the university, which is the school, or it's linked into the fraternity or the sorority. There's a paper trail there. Actually, again, this is jogging my memory. Wasn't there something to do with phone records and messages being deleted? I think I'm right in saying that. Linked into the sorority, fraternity groups. I think I'm right in saying that, whether it was WhatsApp messages or Facebook messages or pages wiped clean. I mean, we obviously have to have somebody who actually has the position, the authority, and is able to get through the murk of the strings of the toxic web that's also linked into this. Bryan's the spider in the middle. There's a whole web around him. But if somebody was able to get through that and actually look at deleted records, deleted phone messages, whatever, and it seems to be linked into university. Aliens. Now, I'm hearing there's an energy of illegal aliens here. I'm wondering whether that is what that is. Let me just see, because I don't think it's little green men, as I say. Let's have a look. Why have we got the alien card, please, here in relation to the Bryan Kohberger case? Crossroads down the rabbit hole. Crossroads would be the house. King's Road, Queen's Road, or whatever it was, the King's and Queen's Roads. The house in the middle. Down the rabbit hole. Yeah, well, I mean, come on. We don't even have to read cards on this. It's blinking obvious that there was something going on in the house, or there was evidence that they didn't want brought to trial. Otherwise, they wouldn't have demolished it. I mean, they demolished it. It is absolutely and utterly ridiculous that the house was demolished. It says everything you need to know about cover-up. You don't need cards. So down the rabbit hole is saying, yeah, there is a, for want of a better word, conspiracy that is true, linked into what was going on there. I mean, maybe this, I honestly don't know. I'm not going to speculate, because you get it wrong if you speculate. I just want to try and give what I'm given. And let's just say anything else to say here. And then we'll have a look at justice. Clear these cards. But anything else to say with regards to Bryan Kohberger and this case that wants to come through in this reading, please, for the people that are watching? Anything else that wants to come through? Travel. Passport. Okay, we've got passport next to alien. That makes sense. I said illegal aliens. Whether this is trafficking, human trafficking, across borders, it implies there's something going on there within this wider network that somehow are linked to this case. Bryan may very well have done it, but who was he acting on behalf of? Why was he doing it over and above his own perverted reasons? There's much more to this case than just Bryan, actually. Let me clear these cards. Those over there. Oh, there's a deck here. I haven't used that yet that I wanted to, so let's bring this one in. I wanted to use the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Whether this makes things more confusing or clearer, I have no idea, but this is a confusing case. It's not clear cut, so when you read on it, you're literally trying to break through layers of shadow, smoke, spider web, etc. And we just ask to be shown the truth. Bryan Kohberger, what is there to say, please, Spirit? The sword. Well, he obviously used a sword. There's something here about time frames, day and night. It's a bit of a sacrilegious card really to use in context of this video, but I'm going to put it out there because we had the Joker already. We've got the Joker and we've got the comic. This links into wild card type energy. I don't know if I'm 100% correct in what I'm getting here, but this is just a strand of energy that may or may not resonate, may or may not be right. I'm getting the energy of somebody almost even suggesting to Bryan as a prank to do something, not necessarily to do what he did, but to give them a fright. I feel I'm onto something, actually. I feel I'm onto something. I feel as though somebody might have suggested to give them a fright. It's like a prank. But for some reason, how did it go from that to what was an absolute massacre? This wasn't a case of just scaring them off a bit. This was full-blown demonic activation. Okay, I have to split the deck and we've got the spider web. Can't actually quite see what's in the middle of that web because I've got my contact lenses on. There's a load of hands. It feels something along the lines of Bryan was the one that did it, but he got into something. He got out of his depth. He got out of his depth. He was drawn into a web. He was drawn into a web of darkness. Now, this also could be a web of darkness linked into his own mind, literally losing his mind to demonic energy. He was said to be recovering drug addict, supposedly clean, but we know that drugs, hard drugs, addiction can create all sorts of holes in the aura that leave you prey to attack, psychic attack. Did something fracture his mind? I actually feel as though he doesn't have a huge amount of remembrance of what actually occurred. Now, that could have just literally been like blackout, you know, seeing red, rage, I've never done it, but I would imagine you go into an altered state of consciousness to do what he did. You're not in your rational mind, are you? So it's almost like after that, there is a degree of memory and flashbacks that come, but then again, he was said to have planned it, wasn't he? I do feel as though he was drawn into a web. It got out of control. I think somebody might have suggested something. He picked up his sword to scare, but then it became something else completely. Let's split the deck. Oh my God. Can you see that card? The tear. Come on. I was just talking about the tear. Princess Diana was talking about the tear. When the tear falls, when the tear becomes so plump that it can't hold any more pain, trauma, whatever, it shatters, it explodes. It's a watershed moment. The castle. The fault line. The castle feels very feminine. You know, we've got pearls, roses, sequined eyelid or something. The castle, the female. This is the female energy. The divine feminine. Crossing the fault line. I also feel this fault line is what he fell into. I feel as though he fell into just the word I'm hearing is psychosis. Psychosis. My screen's just gone. Oh, it's still up. Okay. Screen went dark again. Psychosis. Psychotic episode. Anyway, doesn't bring them back, does it? Doesn't bring them back. Keep splitting I keep seeing this card, the medallion. The dead end. This is something to do with, yeah, the medallion is the one that almost sort of gets a bit of a prize. In some quarters, there is a twisted part of our population that probably holds this guy up as being some bloody hero. You know, you get these women that write into mass murderers and want to marry them. But anyway, we've got the dead end. We're at a dead end. And that hand just coming through there in this card, the dead end, feels like it's the victim's hand just saying, no, don't let it stop. Don't let the case die. Don't let this be it. We want justice. There's also something about a handprint. There were handprints in that house. That's why it was demolished. And why? Definitely, there was definitely handprints. Okay, I'm going to finish just by asking about this plea bargain, and I don't really know what to say about it. Let's just pull some cards on it. I'm going to go to a completely different deck we haven't used before, so we're playing with a whole deck. And this is the After Tarot. Yeah, I can definitely feel the girl's energy today. Don't feel Ethan's energy so much today. And that might be no particular reason why I have to feel all four. I am a medium, so I do pick up on energy of those that have passed. I'm seeing the three girls in like a triangular formation. It feels like Kaylee's at the front, Maddie and Xana. It's like they're a real force to be reckoned with. Do you remember the TV series Charlie's Angels? Yeah, that's what they're showing me themselves as Charlie's Angels. And Charlie's Angels were all about trying to solve crimes, weren't they? You know? They were given their instructions by the boss, as it were, you know? And yeah, they always just were about trying to solve the case. So I haven't been concentrating as I've been shuffling. So let's just see what comes through, because it's probably going to be perfect. Okay, yeah, it is. It's not necessarily about the plea bargain, but it is about the three girls that I was tuning into just then. They obviously feel out in the cold. You know, they've been pushed out of life. You know, they've literally been pushed out of life. Although, you know, we can talk about soul contracts and things like that, which are also, you know, relevant. But just at a very 3D level, they feel pushed out of life. It's the end. The world for them has ended. But they want justice. Ace of Swords. They want the truth to come out about this devil energy next to judgment. Okay? The skeletons coming out of the coffins. Skeletons coming out. Judgment. We want judgment on this devil energy. Page of Cups. Maybe that's Ethan. Why do I keep wanting to call him Nathan today? I don't know what this Nathan energy is. I've nearly called him Nathan a few times in this video. Hopefully I haven't, but I've got it on the tip of my tongue the whole time, Nathan. I don't know who Nathan is or what Nathan. I don't know what Nathan stands for. But anyway, Ethan. Hold on a minute. Ethan. Nathan. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ethan and Nathan have got the same consonants and vowels, with the exception of an additional. So I'm just trying to work it out. Oh, come on, Amanda. Somebody else help me in the comments. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Somebody he studied with or worked with? I don't know. Clarification on this Page of Cups, please. Which may or may not be to do with Ethan or Nathan. Well, I've got the Page of Cups showing here. It's obviously an energy of youthfulness. King of Pentacles. I think it's probably Ethan's energy with this card. The boy who didn't become king. I said earlier the girls were princesses who didn't become queen because their life was taken away. Ethan was the prince who wasn't able to become king. I think that's just Ethan saying, I am here, I am here. Even they've been talking about the girls, I am here. And it feels like his energy is more about, I'm holding space for justice to arrive. It's like he's standing back a little bit, not because he's not interested or invested in justice happening, but there's an energy of, I'm holding space. I think he knows that the three girls on their own are enough. It's just like this really powerful feminine energy. You know, get out of the way. We're coming through. Whatever happens to Bryan, whatever happens to this judge, whatever happens in this case, we are not going to let this rest. Because this isn't just about the case. It's what I was talking about with regards to Lucy Letby. It's what I was talking about with regards to Madeleine McCann. It's not just about those individuals. It's about wider networks that are around these cases. And it's only ever the person in the dock that you see. But there's a whole chain, blockchain behind it. Now, why do I say blockchain? I heard the phrase blockchain the other day. I don't even know what blockchain is. Is it something to do with money? Hold on. Just got a message from my daughter. What's I saying? Blockchain. I think it's got something to do with, is it digital currency? Hold on. Blockchain. What is blockchain? Blockchain technology. I don't know what it means. I thought blockchain was money. No? Money. Oh, blockchain money. Crypto. That's what I'm trying to get at. Crypto. Oh, I don't know. There's a song just come up. Blockchain by Money Man. Let's just see what the lyrics say. Is it going to come up with the lyrics? Oops, it's playing it. Hold on. Just turn that off. Sorry, sometimes I get lyrics given to me. Blockchain lyrics. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Well, it's definitely not my type of music. I can tell you that from the start, just from all the swear words in it. I'm not going to read it out. The words are horrible. But it seems to be about drugs. I don't know. I might actually edit this bit out, but maybe I shouldn't, because maybe somewhere down the line it might be relevant. It's about partying, drug taking. Don't like the energy of the song's lyrics, that's for sure. Don't know whether that's relevant. Anyway, I don't even know how I got to blockchain. Right, let's get back on track. Show me what happens next in this trial. Show me what happens next. Show me what happens next. Three of Swords, ending. Magician, Ace of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, Nine of Cups. Oh yes, of course. Somebody would absolutely love this just to go away, forget all about it, and let's get back to our normal type of work, whatever the hell that is, you know? Whatever this secret society, whatever this network is, whatever they get up to, whether it's drugs, whether it's people, whether it's this, whether it's that, whichever branches of high society it goes into, they just want things back to normal. Let's get this ended. Okay, wouldn't be surprised if they tried to actually bump off Bryan. I mean, as a human being, and I live in the UK, we're not for the death penalty. Okay, we don't have that as our law. So, but I think this is to do with, they just want it over with. End this case, end it. We don't want to hear any more about it. I am the magician. I have somehow paid somebody off so that this can happen. Then we can all get back to work again. We can all get back to work again. So I am showing the cards to the wrong camera. I've got two cameras going on here. We can get back to work again. Eight of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, and we can get back to feeding our... This card to me in this particular deck, it's the wish card, but it shows somebody stuffing their face, you know? It implies greed. It's an energy of greed. I'm hearing another word, but I want to look up what it means before I tell you what it is. Hold on. Avarice is what I'm hearing. Oh, okay. Extreme greed for wealth or material gain. He was rich beyond the dreams of avarice. What is the difference between greed and avarice? Okay, avarice is even worse than greed. It's looked upon as a sin and is considered despicable and evil. Oh, well, you know, the dictionary is telling us the truth. There's some very greedy people behind this. Greedy for power, greedy for money, greedy for status, who will stop at nothing to see the truth shunted off onto the sidelines. And Bryan, who I'm sure was complicit and involved, just taking the rap for everything else that was also linked to this case that is not going to be able to come up to be heard. So I don't want to leave it on that note. I would like to remind us that we are powerful light workers, that I think what we need to do now is to come together to say a prayer for the 4 that are deceased, say a prayer for the families remaining, say a prayer that justice will be done and that the truth will not be hidden forever. And that those linked into whatever is nefarious or evil face their true justice and day in court. And really, that is where I'm going with it. So rest in peace to Kaylee, rest in peace to Ethan, rest in peace to Xana, rest in peace to Maddie. We have not forgotten you. Where was that first card that we got? Had a lot of cards out. Just want to go back to the first 3 cards. Defend to the end the worthwhile. Beyond the mind, the heart beats. They're still existing in a different realm. And this wise owl energy. Justice one day will be served. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. Take great care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye-bye for now. Bye.